All right, we're live now. Um,
Oh,
okay, so welcome everyone to the eighth episode of Making It in America, where I bring ex-international students who are settled in the U.S. Today, my guest is my very good friend Tahadiul, who is a lead mobile app developer at Anthem Inc. And Tahadiul is also an avid swing dancer, and in his free times, he enjoys making different types of breads and inviting friends to his dinner parties. Welcome, Tahadiul. He goes with short name Taha, so I'll just call with Taha. How is it going, Taha?
yeah, thank you. Thank you for hosting me. And yeah, this is very exciting. I mean, I talk to you all the time, obviously. I've known Siam for a while now, but this is also very exciting. And I would love to talk about my experience as a immigrant or, yeah, in America, basically.
Sweet, sweet. So, yeah, I mean, I think like it's kind of funny. Like we can start with where we met. We met in this place where we are training for coding boot camp kind of thing in Greenbelt, which is near DC, right?
Yeah.
Which year was it?
I think 2000.
2012? Like
No,
11, 2011,
no.
2012, 2012.
Yeah, yeah, I don't.
For
That's right. Yeah, 2012. Yeah,
2012, right. So,
yeah,
and then we have jumped around different places, and finally we're kind of, yeah, it's funny how we met and how we became friends. So, yeah, I mean, Taha, I think I definitely know most of your story, but let's start with you're from Bangladesh, you're from Dhaka. Tell us a little bit about your background. Did you grow up in the central part of Dhaka, or like tell us a little bit of your background?
sure. Yeah, so I grew up in Chittagong actually, which is
Oh,
the second
okay.
second largest city, not the capital, but the second largest city in Bangladesh, and it was a port city. And when I grew up, it was like a medium-sized city compared to America. It was still probably like Bangladesh itself is a crowded place, but it was less so than what Dhaka is now, which is like is a megapolis basically, over 10 million people. But yeah, and then I moved to the capital Dhaka for my A levels, which is the equivalent of high school diploma, and then I went to college there in somewhere called North South University. I did my undergrad in electrical and telecommunications engineering, which is just basically electrical engineering with a little bit of telecommunications added on. And I've always wanted to. So growing up, I've always liked science, and in fact, I liked like almost all aspects of science, science, mathematics, hard sciences, physics. I've always liked all of these things, and like my childhood nickname for like a very long time, for several years actually, my childhood nickname was Mad Scientist.
Oh,
Because
really? Okay.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
because, I always acted like a scientist, and I wanted to be a scientist, and everyone knew that. And
Okay.
also, apparently, I was a little mad, so I was like the stereotypical mad scientist. That's what they called me. And my childhood goal was to be a scientist. That I would be some sort of scientist and just work in this field forever.
Yeah.
I started, yeah. It didn't turn out exactly like that, but we'll get to that. How?
Yeah, let's, sure.
So yeah, I went to school for electrical engineering. I didn't go into hard sciences. I just thought that electrical engineering was a little more interesting and exciting than hard sciences. But still, I wanted to, invent something, make something like physical. That's what I always wanted to do. So I liked working in the lab in my undergrad and later on also. And while I was doing my undergrad, I wanted to come to America for studies. I tried to apply for a bunch of different universities and tried to transfer here, but I never really, in the end, did it. For many different reasons, I didn't do it, and part of it was money, and like family and all that stuff. But once I graduated, after my graduation, I thought like, okay, you know what, this is it. I really, whatever I need to do now, I have to make that step. So at that point, I started researching and applying to universities in America. I did all the research by myself, and tried to. I was like very blind at that time. I had like no idea how to go about this whole process of picking a university, picking what to study, picking where, and applying. All different universities have different requirements, and giving the SATs and all these stuff I did by myself. And finally, I landed on a good good program in Montana State University in Montana. And it's in Bozeman. It's a small city called Bozeman. It was not like a very super top tier university, but I was still happy with it because their electrical engineering program, from what I could understand, was fairly good. Their professors were good, and they gave me full funding for PhD, for a grad program. So I started there, and when I started, I really didn't know much about what to expect. I was like, okay, I got in. I'll just prepare. I'm like, okay, I know that it's gonna be cold, so I bought a bunch of like winter jackets before coming here, and then I just hopped on the plane and just came here. So yeah, I realized now that I was not prepared at all, and I was also not very afraid of. Lots of people are like go through, this is a big change. I was not very afraid simply because I was so optimistic and positive. I was just excited. I was just excited to move somewhere new and go somewhere awesome. And I looked at the pictures of the mountains and this and that. So my excitement about all the new things, about moving to a new place, studying something new, making new friends, about all these things hid my hid my anxiety, or being afraid, or like all the culture shock and all the different things. So those things kind of like I basically just ignored. I just started doing everything. So yeah, that's how I started my journey in America. So yeah, then I was on the grad program. The first couple of years was great. I did okay in the grad program, but I also tried to do as many other things as possible, because at that time, literally everything was new. Everyone I meet is new. Everything people did at that time in grad school was new.
Definitely.
So yeah, I had that positive outlook, and I just wanted to try as many things as possible. I would just go to one of the student fairs or whatever, and if there was a new club, I would sign on, go to their meeting. If there was a new climbing wall, I would start climbing. If there was a new, I don't know, like a camping trip, I'd sign up and go camping. So I did a lot of these things. I got involved in a lot of outdoor activities, because in Montana, outdoor activities are very, very big, much more popular than in the East Coast. So I did a lot of these different things, and I really loved it while I was there. And then I started being involved in like dancing. I had some friends who liked salsa dancing. I started doing salsa. I did a lot of like other dancing too. I tried tango. I tried swing dancing. Country two-step is popular there because it's Montana. Montana has a lot of like cowboy vibes going on there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did a lot of dancing there, and near the end, like my last year there, I basically started a salsa club. So how that happened was, salsa was not popular in Bozeman generally, but there was still a small group of our friends and some students who were involved in it. And the only place to dance salsa was hosted by someone who was not in the university and was not in our college campus. So some of the students who didn't have cars couldn't go to that. So we realized that there is a market, there is a lot of people interested in it, but don't have the capability to go there. So one day, me and my friend, who at that time was the president of the Global Culture Club, which was like the international student club. So we were thinking about this and brainstorming, and we realized that, you know what, we should do this and make it so that, you know, people who want to dance can do it easily. So so in a matter of literally a week, we just like brainstormed. We just opened the club. We got the funding. We just like started a club. We got a space in our university. We one of our friends started teaching. And then we basically started a club. We did that like once a week for a whole year. I was there only for a year. And after that, I left Bozeman, so I left it to someone else. But it's still going on now.
Do you know? Is it going like? Do you know how is it going now? The salsa club?
No, I do check it once in a while. The people who are there, I don't. I barely know any of them. Like, I know a couple of them by face, but I don't think they even know me. They changed the name into something else. We started with only salsa. Now it's all kinds of Latin dances, salsa, bachata, and a bunch of other stuff. But I'm still proud of like starting something which will, you know, be there for a while, and it's still going on. So that's exciting.
Yeah, sweet. And so, I mean, obviously, you went there and you said that you were trying different things. So, was there anything else you found yourself being passionate about, like dancing or salsa, or just dancing in general was something which you were like? You obviously tried like rock climbing. Was there anything else which could be like second in your like fun list or like?
Sure. So I did try a lot of the outdoor stuff, like I said, the hiking and camping and these stuff. And I liked all of those, and I still like them, but not as like an actual hobby or something. I like to do them once in a while, simply because I'm not. Otherwise, I'm not very physically active. I don't do sports, and I'm not very physically fit. So I did try skiing and those stuff. Also, I didn't. It was a little too difficult, and I didn't want to do it. I mean, I'm sure I could have learned it if I kept going, but I didn't want to. And I used to do photography also before I came to America. I did photography when I was back home in my undergrad years. For like 4 years, I did maybe like 3 years. I did photography.
Right.
So once I came here, I also did a little bit of photography. The nature is absolutely amazing here. But same with like other stuff. Like, it was something I liked doing once in a while, only when I was in the mood to do so. So I never pursued it as a serious hobby or as a career as some people do. And which is interesting because Bozeman is a very big destination for wedding photography. It has a lot of different venues and outdoor venues, I would say. So lots of people from around the region, not just in Montana, like in out west, come to some of these venues in near Bozeman for wedding photography. And for such a small town, there is a lot of money in and a lot of careers in wedding photography.
I did not know that. So basically, people go to Bozeman for wedding photography, like just for that. Like, that is the
because there is like 2 or 3 big venues. There is Big Sky, which is one of the best. I think it's the second best skiing resort in America. The first one, I think, is in California or whatever. It's in the top 5 or something. And it's also like a very fancy place. So lots of rich people go there for weddings or all kinds of events. Which means like when rich people go to a venue for a wedding, that means there is a lot of opportunity for wedding photography. So a lot of people from that region come to these venues for like those beautiful Big Sky, mountain wedding shoots and photo shoots, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. That's so interesting. I mean that is one part which I still didn't explore. Maybe someday I will. So so you're saying, like, going back to your like yours. I think we missed that part that you're saying that you wanted to be, like, you wanted to pursue some kind of science or research. Obviously, engineering is kind of a tangent of that, but why did it? Do you remember why did you actually not pursue theoretical stuff and went more into engineering?
Sure. My initially when I did my undergrad and when I was younger, I always wanted to do something physical with my hands. I wanted to be in a lab, but also I didn't like working with like chemistry or those kind of lab. I wanted something a little more physical, so I wanted something with electrical engineering, that kind of stuff. Seemed to me like a very exciting field.
Yeah.
Like say like robotics or I was in optics, nanoscale optics basically. So that also was very initially very exciting for me, because there was microfabrication, there was the optics side, there was the lab and experimentation side, and there was also modeling. So it like my graduate years involved like all of that, basically working. I did some coding for some modeling. I had to run some actual experiments. I did microfabrication in the clean rooms. So I did all of these things, and they were interesting. But the more I did them, the more I realized that science or any kind of like research field as a career was something that I wouldn't be interested in long term. Mainly because there were many other things which goes into that as a career, which is you don't see when you hear about it. Okay,
of course.
so there is one of it is basically if you go into that, you have to go get a PhD, and you become either related to academia or some kind of industrial research. So so if you become involved in academia, you get into teaching, and so you get into teaching and becoming a professor. And a lot of that is not so much to deal with teaching and research, but a lot of like boring administrative work, which I didn't like grant writing and talking to. There was a lot of like administrative work.
Yeah.
And also a lot of restrictions about what you could and could not research. Like research is not the kind of thing I thought like people like back in the day, Tesla and Edison, how they did, like they just come up with an idea and just like started to do that kind of stuff. Like I realized like in a realistic world, that's not how it happens. Like someone will give you the money to do one specific thing, and you have to do that thing only. And if you want to do something else, you have to look for the money for that. So I realized that there is a much less freedom I had in regards to what I actually had to do with my time. So that was ultimately the main decision why I not to pursue that, because the lack of freedom and freedom in many different senses. Freedom in like what I'll be doing, what I'll be researching on, and what I actually have to spend time on. Even if I get to research something fun, because of my half the time I will have to basically manage my team of undergrad researchers and like write the paper and edit stuff and all these kind of boring stuff. So a very small part of that is the actual research. So because of all of that, slowly, this is something which I came to realize over a long period of time, over my entire 2.5 years master's. But near the end, I got jaded with it. So I didn't want to pursue it anymore. And good thing was like my program allowed me to basically switch to a master's and just get the master's degree just by writing a master's thesis, and I didn't have to change anything else. That was good. But the bad thing was I was for a very long period of time, more than a year, I was extremely unsure about what to do, basically. What should I do with my life? So for the last few months of my master's, I started to become very depressed and started to lose motivation. And it was very hard for me to even finish my master's and complete writing my thesis and defend it. And I went through a lot of went through a bad place basically at that time.
It was the last year, right? Last year of your master's.
Yeah, last year of my master's, specifically the last semester or a semester and a half, basically. So I would basically go for days without sleep. I would go for weeks without leaving the house. I would tell my professor that I'm working on something, even though I'm not doing anything. So there was this whole cycle of this.
Sure.
But anyways, I finally finished my master's, but still, once I did that, I still didn't know what to do. Because I was like, okay, what shall I do now? And so, and the other big part of that is like I didn't know what to do with my life as a career, and also I didn't know if I should stay in America or if I want to, or how to do that, basically. And that's the basically, as an immigrant, we all know this, like there is this whole process and there is a lot of things which goes on. So I had to think about, my family back home, my friends, whether I want to live back home, what I want to do, and whether it's possible to do that being an immigrant. So there was all these things. And so I went through a year basically of being completely unsure and having no idea what to do. And that's something I truly deeply regret about that phase. Is basically for 1 year, basically I did nothing and I was confused for 1 year. And
I have a question. I don't want to pause you, but why the why the regret though? It wasn't your fault per se. You're just in uncertainty, right? Like you're kind of like in an uncertain position of your life where you don't know what's next. But could you have done anything differently? Like I'm just curious on that part. Like it's not your fault, right? It's something of a process. We all go through, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, no, that's true. Like I don't think I could have avoided feeling uncertain, because, like I said, like that period like gave me, it made me think. But what I regret is like literally not doing anything for a year. I feel like I should have done something, like whatever it is. Like even if I was pursuing a hobby or doing some kind of small work, part-time work, anything. Like anything is better than sitting at home doing nothing. So like what happened at the end of the 1 year, and it really was like exactly almost 1 year. My visa was about to expire, and like I said, I didn't make any decisions. I didn't do anything, so I didn't have anything else to do. So just a couple of months before my visa is about to expire, and I was at that time, I gave up. I was like, okay, since my visa is expired, I guess I'll just go home. That was the easy way out, because like I didn't make any decision. My decision was like, I'll just see what happens. So visa expired, so I guess I have to go home. So, which is not a decision, I know. So, but at one point, a cousin of mine actually talked about some friends and some people who went into software engineering, and how it might be a good career path. And he told me about that basically, and I talked to a couple of other people, and I talked to CM, actually. I talked to you and a few other people, and that was a good thing, because they all, talking to a few different people, they all convinced me that this was a good idea to start. And I was not against software engineering or programming at all. It's just that I didn't even like consider it that much. Like, I knew that this was a possibility,
sure,
but I didn't think about it. I didn't seriously consider it. But yeah, just talking about it with some people gave me that little push to actually start doing it. And that's when I started the boot camp and went into this career path. And I'm happy to say that that was a very good decision. Like, that was 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
In these last few years in this career, I'm happy that I made that decision finally and stick to it, because that is something, me personally, I enjoy being in this career.
Yeah, no, that's I agree with you on that. I mean, software, the fun thing is that it's always changing, so it's difficult to get fully bored of this field because there is always something new to learn. But it's something you just said, it kind of like made me think that, yeah, like I think even I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I have so many phases in my life where I think I have just slept for like 6 months. I have been just sleeping, or I think these are the phases when obviously it's uncertain. I'm confused. I'm just trying to learn. Like, is there any like, if obviously we can hit another layer of uncertainty again, right? Like, it's not like it's only once. It only happens in your life once. It will keep happening. So
exactly. Right.
So like, what are the right approach? I'm just thinking, like, is it you just try out new things, or like since, yeah, I guess like even me, I would say I have also similar regrets that, like, if I wish I didn't waste that much of time, because sometimes I was just like, just as you said, I was just, like sleeping for like 6 months, or just, like just being depressed.
Yes, exactly. So I think my advice for that, like if that happens to you or anyone else, is basically when you're in that phase, whether you're depressed or you're confused or whatever, it's hard for you to come out of that by yourself. It's possible, but it's like, what you should do, or sometimes you don't have the mental energy, so it's very hard to do it even if you know what you should be doing.
Right.
So that's when like having a good friend circle and support system really helps. So having some friends or like family or someone who you think like understands you and who is not going to judge you, who you can come to for help, that will really that really helps, like having someone just give you that little push to go towards the right path. And also and same towards us, like if you are going through that, like you should also reach out to people, your friends, family, whatever. You should ask them for help. If you think that you can always conquer everything by yourself, it's not possible. Yeah, sometimes it is, but we are all human. We all have weaknesses and strengths. So we should just bite our tongue, like suppress our ego, and ask people for help when we need it. And maybe some people, maybe sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's much better than not doing anything.
Yeah. Great points. Thank you for those suggestions. So like, why do you, to begin with, like there was a point where you were thinking that you'll, like, obviously like your visa was expiring, so you're thinking of leaving US. Do you know why? Was it a conscious decision for you to come to US, or why did you choose US in the first place?
Yeah, that is actually a very straightforward, easy question for me. From my research, I always thought that US had the best science and technology education. And I still think that to this day that America has, for science and technology, for STEM, it has the best education, and not just education, but opportunities. Like most kind of science, technology, and engineering research, and like companies and careers, these are US based, and they either started here or they have a huge focus here. So that's why I just like when I initially did my research, I was like, yeah, that's where I have to go. So
that's good. I mean, it's good that you had the basic knowledge base from Bangladesh. But so, and like after you came, is there? I mean, like I mean, international students all go through some struggles. Thanks for sharing part of yours. Was there anything like not in terms of like culture shock in a negative way, but was there anything interesting which you appreciate now after a couple of years of living in US, then like in comparison to Bangladesh? Like how did it shift, like change you as a person, or did it change you, or was there anything interesting or weird you found? Like the contrast, it can be negative, positive, your wish.
Sure. I mean, so the I didn't have that much of a culture shock because I grew up in Bangladesh watching Hollywood movies and TV shows and these kind of stuff. Like I had internet back in the day, and I chatted with people in America. So that wasn't that big of a deal. But still, once I lived here, there were a lot of like subtle things which was different, and I had to like learn by living through it. Okay, like I realized like there are a lot of like American culture, like personal space is a big thing. Okay, here in cultures like Asian cultures, most Asian cultures,
we don't have personal.
So, yeah, that's not so much a big thing, and. Then, for example, what you can and cannot ask or talk about, what topics are okay to talk about with someone you just knew. These also vary a lot, and this is something I had to learn the hard way. Like you can't just, when you start talking to someone, you can't immediately start asking personal questions about their relationships and these kind of stuff. And some people get very uncomfortable, or even they can get mad about this if you are too pushy about this. So these kind of issues are something which I had to like learn by mistake, basically. And these now it seems these things now it has become like normal for me. I know how these things work, but of course, as a student who is new here, these kind of things can be like a big thing. You might you might come across in a negative way towards people you want to be friends with. So yeah, I don't know. There are many of these like small cultural differences. I can't think about them all, but there has been over the years many small things.
Of course.
But yeah, there are also like lots of like things which were different, but I grew to appreciate. When I first went to some store, when grocery shopping, I was literally overwhelmed by the number of options. I just went to buy some milk, and then there's like 20 kinds of milk. There is like vitamin D milk, 2% milk. This every type of milk has at least 4 letters in 4 words, 4 adjectives describing what it is. And same with like everything. Everything is being described in 7 different adjectives, prefixes, and suffixes. And I just wanted milk. I just wanted some crackers. I just wanted some nuts. So it was very confusing and annoying for me that every time I need to buy anything, I was overwhelmed with like 20 different things. But now I grew to appreciate that, having a lot of choices and obviously is like, I like that, having so many choices and being able to pick exactly what I want.
Well, these are very interesting like differences. I also felt most like very valid points. Um, so yeah, I mean, in terms of career, I already know what you are thinking and doing. Like, what's exciting? What's exciting for you in next couple of years? What are you looking forward to in general?
Exciting. My exciting things are like.
Yeah.
So what I find exciting now might be
Yeah.
like boring for most of the people, because I'm married now. I've been married for a couple of years now, and it's I've like settled down. I haven't bought a house yet, but it's I've a small friend circle here. I'm comfortable doing the things I like doing here. So
Yeah.
what are exciting to me are like the small little things which might not be exciting. Just going on a few small vacations here and there, meeting some old friends. I'm really into cooking now. So I just get excited about trying new recipes. Like every few months, I'll start doing one type of cooking. Recently, I started doing Chinese cooking. Basically, I bought all the Chinese ingredients. Chinese cooking has a lot of ingredients like Szechuan peppercorns, and then Shaoxing wine and broad bean paste. There's a bunch of different ingredients which you can't get in normal grocery stores in America. And, so yeah, I've been trying a bunch of different recipes. I tried mapo tofu the other day, and when I start cooking a new type of food, basically what I do is I choose one. Like I started with mapo tofu because I thought it was a great recipe, and when I made it, I realized like, hey, this is a good recipe, but I want to make it better. Okay, so I made it like four or five times in the course of like a few months. I tried to make it as good as possible and be comfortable so that I can cook it without a recipe and just make it however I want with whatever I have. So right now, I feel like I'm comfortable enough that when I make it, my wife gets very excited and she eats the whole thing and she says like, "Oh, I can't stop eating this. This is so good." so, so yeah, I like going through these things. So now I'm comfortable with this. I'll do a few other Chinese recipes, and then I'll move to the next thing I want to move to is cake baking. So I haven't made many cakes yet. So that's also a huge another endeavor. There's a lot of things.
Sure.
I've been doing bread baking for a year now, and bread baking is like from all the types of cooking, it's probably the hardest thing I have done. It's deceptively hard. Deceptively because it's literally just 4 ingredients: flour, water, salt, and yeast. But still, just controlling just the temperature and time and these things, you can vary a lot by what the end product is. So bread baking is something I have been doing for a while, and I would still say I'm still a beginner after a year. So it's a long process, but yeah, that's what I'm excited about. So yeah, that's stuff is exciting for me.
No, I mean, we went to this weekend trip. I mean, that's I think like that was like you have been doing it for almost 1 year, as you say. So it was pretty good, but obviously you are measuring it from kind of like your standards. But yeah, it's so definitely cooking seems like a new like hobby to you, which seems to like you really enjoy, probably because there is a lot of experiments to be done. So I didn't hear of this Chinese thing. So like really excited to hear like basically taste like some of your Chinese food. And is it like are you? Yeah, I guess there's no question to ask it. I'll have to try it myself. But but yeah. So I think like from my side, I guess like so you're saying like so you're busy cooking. What else? Like, do you have any other plans for next couple years? What are you looking forward to? Just basically, um, Like,
Um, what in the future?
yeah.
Um,
Are you moving or any?
oh yeah, moving might be a big part of the future. Right now, we live in a small apartment, and
Yeah.
we really like it. We really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But of course, it has its limitations, and we want to basically move into a much bigger place and have our own house. Um, and part of the reason is like I want my parents to come stay with us if they want to. So having a big enough house and a big guest room, that's important, and also like a backyard, a little play area. I don't like lawns. I'm personally very against lawns
Mm,
because I think it's too much work to look nice.
mm,
But I do like the idea of having a small backyard
mm.
where you can grow some food and put some small campfire and a hammock, that kind of stuff.
That
So yeah, I don't know where exactly we'll be moving because I'm not exactly sure where my career will take me, work will take me in the next 1 or 2 years.
sure.
But I'll be in this general vicinity in the East Coast area.
Yeah.
And even though the East Coast weather is not my favorite, I still tolerate it. So it's okay for me. It's not a huge deal. Uh,
No,
so
that sounds exciting. I think like it is possible that you could find some more interesting things. Like gardening could be, like gardening and cooking probably could go side by side. We'll see
yeah,
how
yeah. I don't know if I can do gardening. Seems like a lot of, from what I've seen, it seems a lot of uh, hard work, as in physical work.
physical hand
So
with
yeah,
hand. Yeah, physical.
exactly. Yeah, it is. It requires a lot of like physical energy, and I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We'll see. No, but thanks a lot, Taha, for sharing all your like sharing your time and sharing. I mean, I already know most of your story. It's almost impossible to get everything in a small setting. But do you have anything for the audience or any advice or anything for the young, basically students who recently came or graduating, who could be going through like some of those phases or might not be, but do you have anything for the younger version of you? Any last?
Sure.
Yeah.
I yeah. What I said earlier about reaching out to people, and that was one thing. But also expanding upon that, I think is like when you're moving to a new place, there you will always come up with lots of different issues. And I
Mm,
don't. I went through my personal issues. Your issues might be very different,
mm,
and but whatever these issues are, I think it's very important to know that you will not be able to solve them by yourself. So
mm,
you have to kind of like accept that you will have problems which you will not be able to solve by yourself.
mm,
So be open towards other people and other things. So
mm.
being open to like everything will help you basically navigate being in a new place. Basically, that is I think my advice. Like, of course, you are all us immigrants have in common is we are in a new place.
Yeah.
So being open towards like everything, not just food and friends and different careers, but like different mindsets and like maybe what you're thinking might be wrong, and basically biting your ego and realizing like, yeah, maybe what I've been doing or how I've been living my life or the things, maybe I made some mistakes before, so I should try to see other people and try to, yeah, basically keep an open mind. That's my
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, that is a great advice. Keeping an open mind for change and also for taking help. Awesome. Thank you, Taha, again, and I'll definitely see you around. And yeah, and those for those who are watching, we do this episodes every Thursday night. So I'll see you guys again next Thursday night with some another ex international student. And that's it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Siam.
Okay, bye.
Bye.